You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Hello everyone, my name is Pratibha Tanaji, student of Savitribai Phule Pune University. In this video, we are going to analyze a novel Revolution 2020 by Chetan Bhagat. So let's start. Revolution 2020 happens in three stages in Chetan Bhagat's novel and is listed as love, ambition, and corruption. About the author, Chetan Bhagat is an Indian author, columnist, and YouTuber. Chetan Bhagat graduated in mechanical engineering from IIT Delhi and then pursued PGP from IIM Ahmedabad. He started his career as an investment banker but left it after a few years to pursue writing. He has written 10 novels and 3 non-fiction books. His first novel, 5 Point Someone, was published in 2004. Here are some novels written by Chetan Bhagat. Revolution 2020 is a novel by Chetan Bhagat. It's one of the most popular novels of Chetan Bhagat. Revolution 2020 has a beautiful plot of a love triangle. It also depicts friendship, vicissitudes of emotions, betrayal, and realization of misconducts. The story primarily revolves around 3 friends, Gopal, Raghav, and Aarti. Among these 3 friends, one was financially weak, whereas the other 2 were rather prosperous. Nonetheless, they befriend this poor guy when they get to know about a tragedy faced by this guy in his early years. They all had big dreams in life to achieve. Although to materialize the dream, one friend cheats with the system and does corruption. And in henceforth days he gets rich. Aarti gets closer to him and one night loses her virginity with him. But thereafter later on she realizes her mistake of getting intimate with a stranger after being already in a relationship. Whereas Raghav was busy realizing Gopal about his substantial contribution to corrupting the system and makes him feel ugly about it. Although by this time Raghav did not know whatsoever about the hidden relationship between Aarti and Gopal. On the other hand, Gopal also realizes his couple of mistakes and was in extreme guilt. Thereby, Gopal, to fix his mistake, illuminates himself as a pervert or rather a traitor in Aarti's eyes, when he was really enjoying his life with Aarti immensely. Thereafter, Aarti feels cheated and finally gets married to Raghav, whereas Gopal is still confused about something. Thereby, he asks a final question from Chetan Bhagat. Narration of past. Gopal once meet an accident and is rescued by Chetan Bhagat before it gets worse. In the hospital, they befriend each other, and one day Gopal recites about his life asking a question to Chetan Bhagat in the ending. This is the time when Gopal is a student and striving against all the odds he is facing due to being poor. Gopal lost his mother at a very early age. He would live with his father, who was a hard-working farmer. Gopal's father had a lot of expectations from him. Thereby, Gopal would also keep himself bounded in the discipline. Gopal understood his father's expectations and wanted to fulfill them all. Aarti and Raghav are good friends. They spend most of the time together in the class discussing the studies. Aarti deems him as a good friend and would love to have him around. One day, Gopal steals Aarti's tiffin box and meanwhile gets caught by the other classmates. When Aarti gets to know about it, she gets extremely angry and retorts Gopal for his deeds. Whereas Gopal thereafter defends himself by manifesting his wish of having a tasty breakfast for many days. As Aarti listens to Gopal's side, she melts down, and when she finally finds others talking about Gopal's mother, she feels quite guilty and forgives him promptly. Thereafter, all 3 of them becomes good friends and also share some memorable time. Although, meanwhile, Gopal also proposes to Aarti, whereas she refuses, saying to him that she only deems him as a good friend. Chasing dreams. They all had their own respective dreams to materialize. Aarti wanted to become an air hostess, Raghav a reporter, and Gopal an engineer. Thereby, all these 3 friends started preparing for JEE Mains examination to accomplish their destinations. Although Raghav succeeded in his very first attempt, whereas Aarti and Gopal could not make it happen. Gopal thereafter moved to Kota city to prepare for the examination properly. After a year, when the result declared, Gopal found himself again in the same place. Meanwhile, he also gets to know about Raghav and Aarti's secret affair, which unquestionably made him angry a little bit. The twist. After a few days, Gopal again returned to Varanasi and found his father disappointed as he spent some days there with his father. He also gets to know that his father had put all his saving into his coaching. Gopal's father was extremely upset with him. Now it had become a challenge for them to fulfill their daily basic needs. Now all they had was disputed the land. Gopal used to be very tensed all the time, and suddenly he gets to know about his father's demise. This news completely broke him from the core, but he also had to accept it and move on. Gopal got busy in the preparation of the funeral, and meanwhile, his uncle comes to him. This uncle was an old friend of Gopal's father. Uncle offers him 2 lakh for the disputed land, but Gopal refuses him. Uncle also tells him about the hefty debt of 3 lakhs which his father had already borrowed from his couple of acquaintances in an order to cajole him for the deal. But Gopal disagrees to deal with him. After a few days, a friend of Gopal suggests Shuklaji, who was the MLA. Shuklaji was also quite interested in Gopal's disputed land. Thereby, Shuklaji makes a deal with Gopal accordingly, to which he was going to construct a college in his land, and in returns for that, he was going to declare Gopal the head of the college. Gopal found it as a great opportunity, and consequently, he accepted it and joined Shuklaji's projection. The betrayal. As Gopal becomes the head of the college, his life completely changes. Now he was concerned about fulfilling his daily needs. Moreover, he was rather satisfied. Gopal was getting financially strong and prosperous very fast and was very happy in his life. Whereas Aarti was not allowed to move out of Varanasi to chase her dreams. Thereby, she could not become what she wanted to. On the other hand, Raghav had become a journalist by this time. When Aarti gets to know about Gopal's success, she feels very happy and congratulates him personally. Gopal, on the other hand, was not happy with Aarti due to her relationship with Raghav. Gopal still loved Aarti immensely but would not confess to her due to guilt of the last time of confession. But Gopal wanted to convince Aarti at any cost for their marriage. Thereby, Gopal started spending more time with Aarti. Soon they started spending quality time with each other's company. One day, Gopal invites Aarti into his mansion on the pretext of dinner, and they spend a whole night together. Meanwhile, Aarti and Gopal get close to each other, and Aarti loses her virginity. Although the very next day Aarti feels extremely bad about it because she was already in a relationship with Raghav and she was not supposed to do what she did with Gopal. The revenge. All this time, Raghav was busy doing his job. Meanwhile, he also publishes an interview in which he articulately illuminates how MLA and Gopal together did fraud with the system to grab the disputed land. This interview spread all over the city, and consequently, as the MLA gets to know about this new hyped interview, he promptly gets attacked in Raghav's office by his goons. Although it was not alone him who decided to do this, instead, Gopal was also involved in this action. Moreover, he also pressurizes the head of Raghav to fire him from the job. Hence, Raghav loses his job too. Raghav could not abide by what Gopal did to him, but yet he had not accepted vanquish. Instead, Raghav kept working diligently to show the society MLA's and Raghav's real face. Finally, Raghav had enough shreds of evidence that could make the MLA lose his position. So, as he did, an MLA loses his position. Now, the city had to be given a new MLA. Although there was only one contender in this race to be given this chance, and he was Aarti's father, but he rebuked to accept this proposal of being MLA due to his personal concern about his age. Thereby, public started expecting this from his daughter. Now it was the golden chance for Aarti to accept this proposal and start a new happy life. But Aarti was also not sure about it. Thereby, she gives clues to Gopal to grab this opportunity and marry her finally. Thereafter, they also discuss it a couple of times. The confrontation. Raghav on the other side was super angry and also pissed off from himself. All he wanted to do justice to his soul and illuminate those fraudulent activities made by Gopal in the past. Whereas Gopal was angry with Raghav due to his recent bold moves to destroy his happy life. Hereby, finally Gopal decides to go to Raghav and warn him to stop. Gopal also wanted to degrade him by realizing his failures. He decided to tell him about his success and how he snatched his loving girlfriend from him. As Gopal reaches Raghav's house, he finds an old man sitting there. This old man had come to complain about the head of the college in which his son studied and died due to the consumption of contaminated water. As Gopal listens to this old man's complaint against him, he completely breaks down. He finds his poor father in this old man's situation, who would always stand against injustice. Gopal realizes his mistake and wanted to mend them all on his own. He readily leaves from there ruefully and to fix these dirty deeds. The sacrifice, Gopal decided to lose everything that he achieved by frauding by his own consent, and thereby he plans a situation in which he shows some strange girls with him to Aarti so that she feels hurt and decided to break up with him. And thereafter it happens the same. After a month, Gopal received Raghav and Aarti's wedding card, but still he is confused about something.